That's when things really started to unravel for you, Mason.
The defector.
MACB compound in sight. You are jumping into some deep shit, Woods.
We're here to yank a defector with vital intel on Soviet involvement in Nam. We lost contact with his security team. He may be holed up in the MACB safe room.
He's alive! We'll find him!
Dog X-ray team, hook up. Squad 50, we're hit! We're hit!
Look out!
Leave a dagger, we are going down! Hotel 6, come back. Hotel 6, do you roger? Lima 9, Hotel 6 is gone.
Here, Spass 12, hold your incendiaries. Where we heading, Mason?
Welcome back to Black Ops. I've been given a Spass 12 and Dragon Breath rounds, and it was supposed to show off what they do there, but unfortunately I got shot a couple times first. It's the problem with scripted events. I'm going to use the Dragon's Breath Spass 12 most of this level. The commando I have now I drop in a minute. You'll see plenty of that later in the game. Something to say about the Spass 12 is that it's probably the best shotgun in the multiplayer and possibly in single player too. It carries 8 rounds, it's semi-automatic, and you can put a silencer on it, which is the only one of the shotguns you can actually do that on, and it will not affect the range of the pellets or anything like that, so there's no good reason not to do it. But still, some people like the Olympia because it puts more damage out there, or the stakeout because it's 4 rounds and pump action puts out the same damage as the Olympia. So it's a matter of preference, but I like the Spass, and I really like the Dragon's Breath rounds here. When you're close, they act as buckshot, and when you're further away, they set people on fire like it's a flamethrower. And I think it's actually area of effect, not based on pellets. So the pellets only matter for the first few, like 3 or 4 feet. After that, it's fire. Unfortunately, those don't show up in multiplayer. Those would be pretty cool. But I was playing multiplayer yesterday, actually, and somebody mentioned that I seem to really dislike this game. And that's actually not the case, as I've mentioned a few times. In some areas, I got that guy in the window, yeah. It's a case of familiarity breeds contempt, where, you know, I've been playing Call of Duty games since Call of Duty 2, and, you know, the campaigns usually function the same way. But Black Ops, where'd that get hit from there? Black Ops does so many things right against the Call of Duty grain that when it decides to jump back into that old formula, I just feel like it's you know, half-assing, and that becomes really cool later on when they decide to go balls out with it and do a few missions that are just completely different, nothing like it in the Call of Duty series so far. And then there's levels like this that start off pretty cool. You know, if it was an entire breach and clear mission and you're just trying to get through here and there's an occasional roadblock of a bunch of guys, that'd be pretty great. But instead it takes you outside in a little while and it starts to go into the old Call of Duty formula. Doesn't make it bad, it just makes it disappointing. So I'm going to try to not talk about that for the rest of the Let's Play, but I wanted to put it out there. There is a reason I complain, and it's because I wish this game didn't do what it does sometimes, is basically it. Otherwise, it's actually a pretty good game. You also saw me open my own door for once in this game. I think probably in all of Call of Duty it's the first time you see it. But hey, that's pretty nifty too. So we're looking for the defector. He's somewhere in this compound, and we're going to meet him in a moment through this door. So, new character, upcoming.
Woman, on me!
Mason.
Reznov, how'd you get out of Vorkuta? Never thought I'd see you alive.
Nor are you, my friend. I am here with a warning. Your government would do well to heed. Dragovich is planning an attack on the west.
Vincent, you get what you came for?
Dragovich, I knew we'd see him again.
His influence spreads like a cancer. Even the Kremlin does not know what he is truly planning. He must be stopped, Mason. Dragovich.
Alright, so Reznov's back. Mason had said that he wouldn't see Reznov for a while, so when I told you that we get a new character, his model has changed, so I guess we get that one. But Mason had said he was coming back, and I mentioned it in one of the videos, and I will try not to spoiler too much of the game's storyline from here on out, but that one felt like it was a freebie. We've actually entered a Call of Duty multiplayer map called Cracks now. There's a few minor changes, but this is where we go back into Call of Duty syndrome, which is we have to take a gimmick through the rest of the level. In this case, it's air support. We have to call it in on buildings with this radio, which somehow marks them for Huey. I don't know. But it's a gating feature, just as having to wait for allies to open doors for you is, because you can't really advance too easily past these buildings unless they've been taken out with a gunship. It'd been much cooler if, instead of doing this, we called that in and then we had to go clear the rest of it out room by room. I think that would have been a pretty cool feature in the game. That would have been a nice change in the level. But, you know, the limitations of the level design and the time the team has to do this mean we're going to get street fighting, which in and of itself actually isn't bad as far as Call of Duty street fighting goes, because this game doesn't rely so much on people being kind of hidden in windows and doors and such, at least not in open fighting. And you'll see it later, when we're in some of the later levels, people will just come out of corners and stuff like that and attack you. But we're almost done this level, like, believe it or not. We're about halfway there. The levels in Black Ops are about 15 to 20 minutes total each time. So it makes for quick bites. You don't get too bored of any one setting or one level. And that's kind of been the Call of Duty way of things. I picked up an FAL, and I'm in the street. I'm only in the street right now because of the fact that I had that APC there. Because there's now a tank in the street, and I need to call in air support on it, which I thought I had called in, but apparently it missed. I'm going to have to get inside these buildings. And these buildings here on the left are the buildings you want to be in if you're going to play this level. Because if you go to the right, there's very little cover, and you can't really get in those buildings. If you go straight down the street, you will end up getting fucked pretty hard. Actually, the right and the street are the same thing. So going through the buildings makes a lot of sense. The problem is that there's an enemy spawner. There's an enemy spawner outside this building here. If I go straight through here and look at the window where there should be a guy, there's an enemy spawn there, right at that window there. So as you're trying to do stuff, you're going to get enemies spawning on you. So it's best to do this quickly, which I don't do, and I shot woods. But that's more because I tried to clear out the guys directly ahead of me now. See them? And the helicopter will come in and do that. But the problem is that that's not the goal. You want to hit the building ahead of them, or behind them, I should say. And if you don't, they'll continue to spawn more enemies. So you have to wait for the helicopter to be ready again, and then you can move on. As it stands, that's actually a really good move right there, because it means I don't get shot for the next 30 seconds, and I don't have to fight through even more of these guys. It means I can also plink off a few of them if I have to. Overall, it's not a bad move. But now we're pretty secure, we're good, and we just have to wait for Woods to literally gatekeep for us.
Evasive action! X-ray, we're under
Yeah.
fire!
So in multiplayer, you could actually have taken a right out of where we came into that ruined building at the start of this and been here. And I don't know if that guy's gun's jammed or if he's looking for targets. I think it's jammed.
Off the street!
So we're going to try to get to that ZSU, which is some sort of anti-air, I believe. And So it's just Woods and I again, and Reznov's here somewhere too, but I think he's got stuck in the bottom floor there. The allies in this game will teleport to you where you are if you get too far ahead of them. See Reznov teleported in front of me.
I couldn't believe Reznov was here in Way City. He was the defector.
He came back for you, Mason. Reznov was back.
Still in one piece, my friend.
It's not explained where Woods goes in this spot.
You okay, brother?
I'm still breathing.
Alright, so this section, you can actually die in it. I've done it at least once. And it's hard to do, but if you don't fire on those guys, they will kill you. You can also try to detonate that from underneath it, which I definitely did once. But that section, see, it's a pretty quick section. It's not bad, and this tank automatically gets trounced. Of course, Reznov stands right in front of it, so I shoot him for it. Like Woods, he's bulletproof to me. I can shoot him all I want, and it'll be fine. So, I mean, that, like I said, this game actually does a lot with the Call of Duty stuff, where it doesn't make you have to go through just really annoying sections over and over or for a long time. So we're now at a point where we need to defend this objective area so we can get extracted from Way City. And we do it by planting charges around here and defending off a couple waves of Viet Cong. Now, here's the thing. The smoke grenades will mark where they're going to come in through, but I don't know, I forgot where the claymores were, so I picked up C4. C4 is not great for defending this many areas at once. It's good for defending one area, and in multiplayer it's great for defending a point or for action C4ing, as we like to call it, by simply throwing C4 in the air at somebody and blowing it up midair by double tapping X, which is how I actually blow up all C4 in this game. But what you really wanted to do here, and you'll see in a minute after we clear out this first wave, is to use the claymores that are actually behind me right now. But I wanted to show off C4 a bit when you use it, so I picked that up and kind of figured I would leave that in there and show everyone how that works. C4 is actually really fun in this game, especially in single player where it gives everybody. But it's got a good blast radius, it's pretty strong. But the claymores behind me are going to be much better for defending an area, and it takes me a minute to remember exactly where they are. Here we go. So what I like to do is place them right where these guys are going to have to spawn in. Usually 2 in each area. You can get 10 down at a time, or 10 down in this section if you really want to. And I usually let the bodies be my guide of how many I'll need in an area. Unfortunately, I placed the claymore far enough ahead that what's coming next is... Oh yeah, there's guys on roofs. But what's coming next is going to run right into it and completely negate it. So I basically wasted a claymore. And I left in both my deaths in this level, just to show you how well this game does with the checkpointing system sometimes. Sometimes it's really bad and you have to fight through multiple rooms that were really tough over and over again to get through the level. But in this case it's great because you'll see in my next death, it wastes no time. I don't have to do this fight again, everything. But it's quick. This is a very quick section compared to what you would normally encounter in one of these games. You're really in there and done pretty quickly, which is actually really great. But I'm also going to get over here where the tank won't see me easily anyways, and make use of this mounted machine gun here. And we're really just chugging along to the end of this level. Boom. Here we go. So we've got a thermobaric bomb on our hands, which is nice. And we have to get the hell out. Ooh. Yeah, those things can headshot you, turns out. I didn't know that you actually took locational damage like the enemies do. But this is what I was talking about. The checkpointing system is much, much better. So if I want to call in that bomb, I can call in that bomb pretty easily.
Get your asses to the boat!
And it gives us a 20-second timer. You can die doing this run. I have died doing this run. But overall, it's pretty easy. So yay! We're done. So I'll see everybody next time.
Miscarriage could be the result of their newfound ally.
We have the dossier that the defector gave you in Mac V. We've ID'd all of Dragovich's men. Kopchenko, Steiner, Clark. You know them. Masterminds of Project Nova.
Nova 6. Reznov called it Nova 6. Dragovich.
What do you know about Dr. Clark? We know that Clark was the chemical engineer who formulated Nova 6. Malignant narcissist, degenerate prodigy. Your handler, Jason Hudson, was sent to Kowloon to interrogate Clark. Do you remember?
Why keep asking? You already know everything.
No, Mason, we don't know what the numbers mean. We don't know where they're broadcast from.
Well, why don't you ask Hudson? Kowloon was his mission. He interrogated Clark.